Every March, the impossible becomes possible. The buzzer sounds, the crowd erupts, and somewhere in America, a group of players that nobody believed in suddenly become legends. It's the magic of the NCAA tournament. Cinderella runs, bracket busters, moments that make March Madness, well, madness. Today, we are going to relive the greatest NCAA tournament upsets since the year 2000. So, if you could, close your eyes, take yourself back to that moment, and picture yourself sitting in the arena, watching the TV, the band playing, the crowd roaring, some analyst giving their best impressions of what's happening, and history is about to begin. The year is 2018. The Virginia Cavaliers, coached by Tony Bennett, are the number one overall seed in the entire tournament. They're 31-2. They're playing the slowest tempo team in the country, and they have the number one defense in America. Standing across from them, the UMBC Retrievers, a 16 seed. Number 16 had never beaten a number one seed in the tournament in tournament history. Not once, not ever. But on this night, Jairus Lyles turned into a superstar. He started hitting everything. Step back threes, drives to the bucket, pull-ups in transition. The Retrievers bench was losing their minds. Midway through the second half, something unbelievable started to happen. UMBC isn't just hanging around, they are blowing out Virginia. The Cavaliers looked stunned. The arena crowd sensed history, and the final seconds ticked away. The call that echoes forever. UMBC has done the unthinkable. The final score? UMBC 74, Virginia 54. The first 16 over number one upset in NCAA history. March Madness had just reached a new level. Now, let's go back to 2013. A small school from Fort Myers, Florida, burst into the national stage, the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. Their style, fast, fearless, and above the rim. Their nickname quickly becomes legendary, Dunk City. Point guard Brett Comer is throwing alley-oops like a quarterback, launching touchdowns. Chase Feeler is soaring through the air. Sherwood Brown is dancing down the court. First victim, the Georgetown Hoyas, a two-seed coached by John Thompson III. Alley-oop after alley-oop, the crowd is standing, commentators are losing their voices. Florida Gulf Coast wins. Then they do it again. They beat San Diego State to become the first 15 seed ever to reach the Sweet 16. Dunk City had officially taken over March. Now picture this. 2006, a mid-major nobody expected anything from. The George Mason Patriots. Their coach, Jim Laranga, a veteran leader with fearless group of players. Their tournament run become one of the greatest Cinderella stories ever. They beat Michigan State. They stunned the defending champions, North Carolina. But the moment everyone remembers comes against the mighty UConn Huskies. UConn is loaded with NBA talent. Rudy Gay, Marcus Williams. They're expected to roll. Instead, George Mason fights. Every possession, every rebound, and the game goes into overtime. And when the buzzer sounds, the Patriots done the impossible. George Mason is going to the Final Four, and the arena explodes. Players collapse in disbelief. This is a true Cinderella story. Now, before he was a superstar, before the championships, before the MVP trophies, there was Stephen Curry at Davidson. In 2008, the 10th seed Wildcats began a magical run. Curry catches fire. Defenses know the shot is coming, but they can't stop it. Against Georgetown, a powerhouse 2 seed, Curry drops 30 points. Deep threes, floaters, off-balance jumpers, and the announcers keep repeating the same phrase. This kid is unbelievable. Davidson keeps winning. They reach the Elite Eight, and the world gets its first glimpse of a future legend. Now it's 2011. The team that almost didn't make the tournament at all, the VCU Rams, coached by the young, energetic Shaka Smart, On Selection Sunday, analysts everywhere were furious. Many believe VCU had no business being in the field. They were sent to a brand new play-in round, the first four. Most teams treat it like an afterthought, but not VCU. They beat USC, that had just entered the main bracket. That's when the madness begins. Next up, the Georgetown Hoyas, 6th seed by John Thompson III. The Hoyas, led by superstar Austin Freeman and big man Chris Wright, but VCU unleashes a style it wasn't even ready for. Relentless defense, full court pressure, the system known as Havoc. Guards Joey Rodriguez, Brandon Roselle are flying around the court. Forward, Jamie Skeen becomes unstoppable inside, and VCU blows Georgetown off the floor. Then they do it again. They beat Purdue, led by star Jajuan Johnson. Then they shock Florida State. The team anchored by future NBA players Chris Singleton, Bernard James, and then suddenly the Rams are facing number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks, a national powerhouse led by the Morris twins, Marcus Morris and Markieff Morris, 2 future NBA stars. But VCU doesn't blink. 3 after 3 after 3, the Rams run Kansas out of the gym. The final horse sounds. VCU has done the impossible, and a team has started in the first 4 is going to the final 4. One of the most unbelievable tournament runs in NCAA history. Now, go back to 2012, a classic David versus Goliath matchup. The Duke Blue Devils, coached by legendary Mike Krzyzewski, enter the tournament as a 2 seed. Duke is loaded with talent. Future NBA stars Austin Rivers, elite shooter Seth Curry, forward Mason Plumlee dominating inside. Most fans expect Duke to cruise. Standing in their way, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, a 15 seed in the Patriot League. But Lehigh has one secret weapon, a guard from Canton, Ohio named C.J. McCollum. On this night, McCollum turns into a legend, and he attacks the rim. Pulls up for mid-range jumpers, knocks down huge threes. Duke keeps trying to respond. Austin River hits big shots. Seth Curry knocks down big jumpers, but McCollum refuses to let Lehigh loose. With every basket, the crowd gets louder. The upset is real. The final buzzer sounds. Lehigh wins. Lehigh 75, Duke 70. McCollum finished with 30 points. And at the moment, that lives forever in March Madness history for Duke fans, and one of his most shocking losses in Coach K's era. For Lehigh, it's the greatest win in school history. Fast forward, way forward, to 2022. A tiny school in New Jersey had entered the tournament as a 15 seed, the St. Peter's Peacocks, coached by Shaheen Holloway. Nobody expects them to last long. They run into Kentucky, one of college basketball's blue bloods. The NBA talent everywhere, and St. Peter's doesn't care. Guard Doug Eddard starts knocking down huge shots. Forward Casey Ndefo dominates the defense. St. Peter's wins in overtime. Then they keep winning. They beat Murray State. They shock Purdue. Suddenly, the Peacocks are in the Elite 8, the first 15 seed to ever go that far. Fans everywhere are chanting, "Peacocks fly together." Another Cinderella has taken over March. Just 1 year later, in 2023, history repeats itself. The Boilermakers enter the tournament as a number 1 seed, and they have the most dominant big man in basketball, a 7'4" center, Zach Edey. Across from them, the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights are the shortest team in D1 basketball. The ultimate David versus Goliath matchup. But the Knights play fearless. They pressure the ball, they attack the rim. Purdue can't find an answer. The buzzer sounds, Fairleigh Dickinson wins. Another 16-1 shocker. And March Madness proves once again, anything can happen. This is why we watch. Why March millions of brackets get busted, because somewhere in the tournament a small school will rise, a star will be born. There's probably some young white guard who's a senior, 6th year, gonna drop 30 points on what should be the greatest team of all time, and the moment will live forever. March Madness isn't just basketball, it's chaos, it's drama, it's history, and we're here for it. Let us know what you think is your favorite upset or Cinderella run of all time. Thanks for watching.